The Talmud writes the name of his master and the name of his teacher, Baal Shem Tov, that the Eser Makas, the 10 plagues in Egypt, our sages tell us that the same waters that was blood in the first plague, that the waters of the Nile turned into blood, was blood for the slave masters, for the Egyptians. That same blood was water for Klal Yisrael, the people of Israel. Which means the exact same thing. For one person, it seemed as blood. And the idea of blood here is the opposite of life, the end of life. Like the Pasuk said, the Torah tells us, that the waters will turn into blood and all the fish will die. And it will smell, which means it's foul. It was a foul odor, representing an ending. It died. It was over. That same blood represented and was water to Bnei Yisrael, the people of Israel. So now the Baal Shem Tov is going to say it like this. Mitzrayim, Parai, the king of Egypt, what does Parai represent? It's Shikha. Parai nikra Shikha. Forgetfulness is called Parai. Because Parai, this is based on the teachings of the Ari HaKadosh, that the Rizal writes that Parai is Oisis Oiref. The letters of the word Parai spell the backside, which the front represents remembering, and the back represents Shikha, the forgetfulness, or forgetting. So Parai represents forgetting. What they forget, we'll see in a moment. But Parai represents the king of Egypt, and Egypt, Mitzrayim, represents Shikha. Shikha also comes from the same letters, which is Choshech, darkness. Now the Baal Shem continues. Mak is dam, shushem ma, chaser aleph. The Maka, the plague of dam, is spelled Dalid Mem in Hebrew. Dalid Mem is blood, which is the name, the sacred name, one of the names of Hashem, which is the Yud Kei Vav Kei, the fullness of the name of Hashem, equals 45, which is a name called Ma. Ma also means what. What? Ma, Mem Hey, is 45. Mem Hey, missing Chaser Aleph, missing the Aleph, becomes Dam, becomes blood. So Ma is 45. And if you're missing the Aleph, which means you're missing one from 45, you have 44, so 44 is the word Dam. 45, which is the word Ma, what? Which means when you have the Aleph added, Aleph is 1, added to the letters Dalad Mem, which is Dam, blood, and you put the Aleph together with the Dalad Mem, you have the word Adam. So Adam, man, represents the koyach, the power, or the idea of Ma. That's man. Man is Ma. What? When the Ma, the what, is missing the Aleph, you have blood. Shehi Hashikha. This is what the Baal Shem writes. The Baal Shem teaches us that this is the idea of forgetfulness. Shikha represents when the Aleph leaves the Adam, leaves the person. The Aleph, Dalet Mem, which is man, which is man is Ma, is what. When you take the letter out of Aleph, out of Dalet Mem, you're left with Ma. Who loses the letter Aleph? Someone that lives in the world of forgetfulness, of Shikha, of darkness. Mashenkin Yisrael, however, the people of Israel, who are not slave owners, which means they were not restricting, they were not in the place of constriction. For them, hoyumayim, for them, that same blood was actually water. Shehem ma, which is ma, water is ma, mayim shein lo saf. This is water that has no end. Water has no end, which means that they had water with no end. This is the first part of the teaching, and this is a similar teaching. This is in the Toldos Yaakov Yosef writes this, and this is a similar teaching by the Baal Shem's grandson. Let me just read very quickly also what the Baal Shem's grandson. Let's try to unpack what the Baal Shem is revealing. So the Baal Shem teaches, the grandson of the Baal Shem, the Degel, writes that I heard from my grandfather. There's a great principle from my grandfather, from the Baal Shem. The same Maka, the same plague, which was damaging, was a plague for the Egyptians, that same was a healing for Klal Yisrael. The Ketzad. B'makas dam hoyu l'mitzrayim b'soid Hashem eke b'ribua. Makas dam, the plague of blood, occurred from the Shem Eka, Aleph, Hey, Yud, and a Hey, b'ribua. Ribua is squared. Aleph, Hey, Yud, and a Hey. Aleph is 1. The numeric value is 1. Hey is 5. Yud is 10. Hey is 5. So together is 21. But there's another way to do the numeric value, which is you write the letter Aleph, which is 1. Then you write Aleph, Hey, which is 6. Then you write Aleph, Hey, Yud, which is 16. Then Aleph, Hey, Yud, and a Hey, you have 21. So 21, 16, and 6 and 1 is 44. So the Maka came from the name Eka. The name Eka. Where do we find the name Eka? Aleph, Hey, Yud, and a Hey. Where do we find this name? We find it on Moshe in the burning bush, where Moshe asks, Mashmoi, Ma'amar Aleim, what's the name? What should I tell Klal Yisrael? What should I tell the people of Israel? What's the name of what's your name? Hashem said, Eka Asher Eka, I will be who I will be. So the name Eka represents a becoming. This was a Maka prior. This was Shuhu Mispar Dam, which is the Mispar, which is the numeric value of 44. Uli Yisrael, however, to Klal Yisrael, to the people of Israel, Hoye Ma. This was the level of Ma, 45. Bechinas Mayim, which is the level of Mayim. So there's two parts of the teaching, which now we're trying to unpack what the Baal Shem is teaching us. The first part of the teaching is that Egypt represents forgetfulness, the backside, which is forgetfulness. What is their forgetfulness? The Adam, the Tzuras Adam, the being, the human, is Bechina of Ma, is a level of Ma, which is what? When the human being loses the what? When the human being loses the Aleph of Adam, what they're left with is dam, blood. When the human being loses the Aleph of Adam, the thing that remains to the human being is blood, which is death of life, the end of life. However, a person that's connected with the Aleph, so they don't have 44, they have 45. And they have 45, they have the name Ma, which is what? So one ends with what, which Baal Shem says is water, she'en lasaf, infinite amount of water, and one ends with dam, which is blood, which is ending. So if forgetfulness leads to blood and ending, and remembering the Aleph, remembering the one, leads to mayim she'en lasaf, infinite amount of potential.